Welcome, everyone. We clearly did a first segment, and that's why I'm welcoming everyone back. We are actually joined by a guest. I've been looking forward to this interview more than any interview we've done. I know we have like some credible sports journalists, and we have some athletes that come on the show.
Yeah.
But largely they all sound the same. So I would say that this is a show about sports, but more than anything else, I want to take the opportunity, because we run our own company, I want to take the opportunity to talk to interesting people about cool things. And we have one such person this week. Mike Familant joins us. He is the producer and lead investigator of In the Shadow of Big Red Eye of Sussex County. Basically, if we boil it down, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, you're looking for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to start off where just get a bit of your background. What led you to first start to start looking for Bigfoot, and how has that evolved into becoming such a big passion project for you?
Cool. Since this is like a relatively short show, I'll go kind of quick because I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So basically, first time ever camping like in my entire life in North Florida. We were camping with a group of people and who were actually out looking for Bigfoot, and we ended up getting rocks thrown at us, and we heard tree knocks. And this was like 4:00 in the morning on the last night. Everybody's asleep, and I didn't think too much of it. I was scared, obviously, my first time like in the woods at night, and my buddy threw one of the rocks back in the direction that these rocks were coming from. And I knew right then and there it wasn't a person, because like a boulder, like yay big. I know it looks like a fish when I hold up my hands. It's like, yeah, that's how big it is. That's what I like to do with my pictures.
Also, why the same reason you hold the camera really close when you're sending a dick pic.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course, you have to.
Angles, all about angles.
All about angles.
100%. But a boulder, probably the size of, okay. These are really good store-bought cookies. About this size, came and landed. All the rocks landed within 5 to 10 feet. This guy landed about 10 feet from us. And you could hear him crashing through the trees and stuff. So then everything stopped. We did some brief estimates about like where this could have came from and stuff like that. And the closest possible location, because we try to do all that scientific shit and whatever, was like 100 to 150 yards away. So
this guy threw a boulder 100 yards away.
Yeah. I can't throw a baseball, accurately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you're thinking like, all these rocks and this boulder came from at least 100 yards away, and it's like, oh man, like that's something. So then I started, I went home and I started researching like reports in Florida. We went out camping some more times. Saw a pair of blue and red reflecting eyes in Central Florida.
Okay.
It was really crazy. Moved back home to Jersey and found out that Sussex County was like really like a hot spot for Bigfoot.
Okay.
And the name up here, everywhere has like a different name. In Florida, it's the skunk ape. Ohio, the grassman. And up here in northern Jersey, it's big red eye. So it's I started investigating. I contacted all these witnesses. I made some connections, and it finally turned into the point where I was tired of watching all these like fake shows on TV, I'm not going to say names, but all the shows are designed for ratings and stuff like that. And I get it. It is what it is. But I wanted to make a show that shows what like a Bigfoot expedition truly is. So people could connect with that and whatever. So that's when I started In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. And people seem to love it. We're actually filming our fifth season right now. and it's just been incredible. Not only do we just look for Bigfoot, but we do stuff that other shows don't show. Like you'll see us like driving around in the car making fun of each other. You'll see us going to these.
It's like a regular reality show.
It is
with the premise of finding the Grassman Bigfoot skunk.
Right.
The terrible TV production trying to make the ratings go up.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Like it's actual scientific work with some fun.
Yeah.
And I film, edit, produce, plan everything. Everything is done by me. So it's not like I have anybody that I have to get approval from or do whatever. Which is awesome because not that I'm going to edit the show in any certain way, but if like I like to go and I like to film ourselves going into these like kind of local towns, and hopefully if our viewers are to get out there and into the woods and want to look where we look for Bigfoot, they'll go to these small towns. It promotes local business, which everybody people are hurting right now, and we also our kind of like goal of the show, obviously. It's really not to find Bigfoot. That's what we film, but the show's goal is just to get friends and families off the couch and into the woods and explore nature.
That's awesome, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated by the idea. I mean, the idea for me, like when I heard about Bigfoot the first time, I'm like, impossible, this guy exists. Loch Ness Monster, all that stuff. But now that growing older, you start hearing about all these new creatures that come out of the sea, and it's not crazy to me that there's this one thing that people might have seen once in a while that shows up and throws a boulder at your face.
Yeah, well, you just never went looking because it would interfere with your gambling.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah.
But otherwise,
But also, I want to ask you.
Interest.
I want to ask you because everything I've seen, he's very prominent in the Pacific Northwest. Is that possible?
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's the Canadian Sasquatch is what the other name is.
okay, there you go.
As,
Yeah. So
Sasquatch,
how tall is this guy? Like, how tall is a Bigfoot? And I'm thinking it's one guy, like around the country. He's walking on the highway. How tall is Bigfoot averaged? Give me like approximation. What would I expect to see in the size?
Like
of
if you were sort of building a profile the same way like when police are looking for someone, like what's the profile for Big Red Eye?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So the average height we're looking for is 7.5 to 8 feet tall would be an adult male. Females are a little bit shorter from what reports say. And I'm no expert on this topic, just to let you guys know and everybody listening know. This is just from my research and what I've read and what I've seen again and again in reports. So the average Bigfoot 7.5 to 8 feet tall. In Canada, they're a little bit taller, closer to 10 feet. Down in Florida, they're a little bit shorter, an average of 6 feet, 6 to 7 feet, which is really cool. Just to sidetrack real quick is in Florida, a lot of the animals are smaller, and it's called Bergman's rule. It's because they don't need to hibernate. So in New Jersey, the black bears are huge, have to eat a whole lot of food. Down in Florida, the black bears, you have a big black bear at 200 pounds. Up here, you could easily see a 500-pound black bear and not really bat an eye at it. So that's super interesting, and that kind of leads me to believe that the reports kind of make sense.
So with that impressive height, I had sort of two-part question. First part's about the height specifically. So given that impressive height, how long do you think it could take us to get one to learn how to shoot three-pointers and to defend the perimeter?
Yeah.
Well,
That's the first thing, or at least block a really
Kawhi can
fast-
use that. Like Kawhi and Giannis can use that.
Yeah, or at least block like a really fast defensive end.
Yeah.
I mean, we could try a thing. The SBA, Sasquatch Basketball Association.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I like that.
That
Start
would
it.
be.
Listen, there isn't one yet.
You want to talk about reality TV right there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm
Sasquatch
gonna
Basketball
trademark
Association.
and copyright that right now. So you guys,
because we'll jump right on.
And you got two broadcasters right here to do the games.
Yeah, then we'll have a New Jersey team and we'll have a Montreal team and they'll just play against each other all the time.
Hey, that's how basketball started. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
So,
good.
the-
Okay, so and another question, just the
I know the
sorry,
second question.
yeah, two questions.
I gotta get him in, Terry. Because
It better not be my fucking question. Okay.
So the question and it's something I've actually heard about people questioning sort of the existence of Sasquatch or Bigfoot, so on and so forth, is why is it that we don't find hair? We don't find sort of anything that footprints and things of that nature, teeth, fingernails,
Carcasses.
carcasses.
Like
Yeah.
basically, why is there no trace? But why is it just people? Like how many? Like, there's been a lot of sightings, I guess, and thousands of sightings. So why are we seeing sightings but not any trace of the Bigfoot?
Makes sense, and I'll make this super quick. One, you said hair. I have a hair in my bedroom, which I can't go get right now, unfortunately. It's from Michigan's Upper Peninsula.
Okay,
it
so
was
you
sent to
have
me-
found hair. Okay, cool.
Well, I haven't found it. It was sent to me by a friend,
Mhm.
but my friend got a wad of it, and this is just a single hair that I have. But she sent it off to the DNA lab to get tested, just like every researcher should do,
Mhm.
and it came back as unknown primate.
Unknown.
So that's some evidence right there. Then you bring up footprints. I found footprints. There's if you're if anybody wants to research footprints and how they're not human or not bear or any known animal,
What do they look like? Eagle, pull it up. Yeah.
go.
Put it
What's
on the
that?
screen when you
We're
can.
gonna pull up some footprints. I'm curious to see what they look like.
Yeah. If you and I'll if I could see them, I'll kind of explain why they're not human.
I don't think you'll be able to see them.
Oh, okay.
No, you won't be able to see 'em. So yeah, so we're looking. I mean, I don't know which one we're gonna be. Okay, yeah. So click on the one next to the guy with the sandal there. So it looks like a human
I just
foot.
googled Bigfoot footprint, so it's like the 8th one on the list.
Yeah,
This is from Trinity River, San Francisco Gate.
SF gate. Yeah.
SF Gate, yeah.
Well, yeah, and you guys looking at it, you probably realize like if you guys have walked on the beach, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
you know the kind of like outline of the footprint because we have that arch.
Yeah.
It's not like a flat foot. If you're looking at, I don't know what picture you're looking at, but if it has like a really flat foot, like a perfect outline of like what you would trace around your foot, if it wasn't like in the sand or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the toes too, the toes say a lot about the foot. If humans wear sandal or wear socks and shoes our entire lives,
Yeah.
so our toes are like this. Bigfoot's toes are spread out
Yeah.
because he doesn't wear shoes or socks.
Yeah. It's
So
the grip.
that's and that's kind of like a weird thing. There's also no mid tarsal break, no. There's a whole science behind it, and if you want to learn more, you can look up Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum out of Idaho State University, and he's like the guy to.
So you know what they say: big feet, big piece. Now I'm questioning how big is this guy's piece?
Legit, my next
I mean,
question.
he's 10 feet tall. You got a whopper.
That was
Yeah.
my next question, Jerry. That's crazy.
Yeah, this thing must be flopping around. Any traces of that taking around there, Mike?
When it runs, you. When
Mike's like,
Bigfoot
I haven't
runs-
really looked for that one.
When there's a male Bigfoot and it's running, do you hear it slapping against the thighs?
Yeah, exactly. Is he a knee slapper? Is he a calf slapper?
Calf
Well,
slapper, jeez.
I will say I think there is you can distinctly tell the difference if you have a decent sighting between a male and a female, mostly because of like the breasts and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I have taken a report of down in West Virginia where he said it was definitely a male. And I don't think they do the slappy slap thigh thing because the hair
It's a
would
shame.
prevent that.
Oh, it's
That's
true.
Also
That's
prevent
why they grow the
cheating.
hair.
Ah, yeah.
Evolution.
Yeah.
To avoid slapping.
Yeah, I don't know if they trim the hedges or not. But
So, you don't know if they manscape.
Well,
if they
hey, I was
Sasquatch
going to
scape.
say, maybe this
Yeah.
is the way we get Manscaped as a sponsor.
Maybe you don't know if they grass manscape. If they
Grass
manscape their grass.
Or they built like a rock tool or something and just.
Yeah. They somehow forged scissors out.
Maybe
of two
they
rocks.
go to
I
hair
don't know.
cutter, man.
I don't know if that would be top on their list to do. To be honest, I don't know.
So
I
how many?
mean-
How many roughly? I mean, obviously there's people who are looking for them, so we don't really know how many exactly there are. But how many roughly is there in the continental North America? I guess.
Within the research that I've done, and I've done most of my research in New Jersey. I think in New Jersey, there's 2 family groups of 4 to 6 individuals.
Okay, so they're not. It's not like a tribe of like hundreds of thousands. There's probably like 1,000 across the country.
I think through the U.S. and Canada, I would say they're U.S. It's hard to tell Canada because it's so vast.
Yeah.
You know?
And we're not very
in the
mountainous in certain areas, so it's.
Oh, it's desolate. There's
Very
nobody,
open.
you know, you can go walk and I mean,
Like
but
there's 3 provinces in a row that's basically just flat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta. There's just nothing there.
and there's nothing,
Yeah.
you know. Fun fact I'll tell you in a second. I think in the United States there's about 2,000 Bigfoot.
Okay. That's crazy. Which it makes sense why. Like, if you tell me there's 2,000 of that kind of bottle of water,
Small cup.
a small bottle, 2,000 of
There
those.
might be just in this color.
How rare would it be that you see them?
I mean, there's one right here. So.
I mean, that was the only one. It's like the episode of Office when he's like, how many of you are affected by somebody with rabies? And they all pick up their hand because it's all the same person.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that though is like you need 2 things for a Bigfoot sighting. You need a Bigfoot and then you need a person. So I think there's a lot of places that, you know, desolate, like up in Canada. When we were filming in Maine, I accidentally ended up in Canada, and then the Border Patrol agent wouldn't let us back through.
It's
Go
Trump's
figure
fault.
that one.
It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. Blame Trump. It's easy.
COVID.
Well, he was actually just playing a joke on us, so it was actually kind of funny in the end. I wish
don't
we
blame
filmed it, but you know, where there's no people, just like Alaska, there's not many sightings in Alaska or Montana because there's no people in Alaska or Montana.
Yeah.
You need people
I
to
think
see
that's-
them for there to be sighting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're not reported.
But back to my point of you go back to my point of the Pacific Northwest is that it's so dense out there too with all the forests and stuff. It's very possible that there's something out there you've never seen.
Yeah.
So Mike, how often do you actually go looking for big red here? Is it something you do on like a weekly basis, monthly, quarterly? Like, what's that look like?
I'm gonna start calling it that, Big Red. I've never heard that before. I like that actually. Hey,
It's
wanna
both
go out
Bigfoot
for-
and a chewing gum.
Well, it's also maybe his piece is red.
Also possible.
Maybe that's why we call him Big Red.
Yeah.
I just call him Mr. Roundtree.
Mr. Roundtree's a good one. I like it too. It's a good name. He's got plenty of names. This guy.
But anyways, we tried it. This year has been really difficult because of the whole COVID thing. So we haven't gotten out. We actually had a really good year planned. We haven't gotten out as much as we wanted to. Generally speaking, we try to get out as a team about once a month.
Oh, once a
From,
month. Okay, so it's a lot.
So March to November, we'll try to get out once a month, go different places.
And you have an
And
event
that's-
coming, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, we do actually. It's going to be our last one of this year anyway. We have one coming up in Northeast Pennsylvania. The closest I could say is about 20 miles outside of Wilkes-Barre.
Wilkes-Barre, Scranton.
Yeah, right by Scranton.
London Mifflin.
And it's cool because it's a public expedition. So anybody listening, including you guys, can come to this thing. And what we're going to do is it's 3 nights of Bigfooting, 4 days of looking at talking to witnesses, scouting locations, doing all this awesome stuff. And we're going to just go Bigfooting and do what we normally do, except bring people out there that maybe have never had the chance or are worried to do them, themselves. But I think it's awesome that we're able to do this. It's $150 for 3 nights of camping, which I know people complain about the price, and it seems like a lot.
That's a good price for camping, right?
The price for camping without an expedition.
Yeah, so at least you're doing something else. Like that's what I find too. I mean, I've never been camping, but I'm like, what do you do with your days? I mean, that's a good idea to do with your days.
Drink heavily, largely.
Drink heavily and just go look for Bigfoot.
But so
Big Red.
we're actually running super short on time because we're super interested and we've loved the conversation, so we hate to cut it short. But I will say I want to do something that we do sort of to end our show. We'll call it rapid fire. So we're all gonna have a question for you. You gotta answer like super quick, like
Yeah, like no
like
thinking.
10 seconds or less. So the first one is gonna be a tough one, but why as cameras have improved on phones and such, have the quality of photos for Bigfoot not gotten better, or have they?
Simple. Take out your phone, take a picture in 3 seconds. That's the average time that a Bigfoot
I already
sighting
couldn't
lasts.
do it. I'm
Next.
so bad at technology, I already couldn't do it. All right, that's a good answer though. I like that.
Yeah.
Terry, do you got one yet?
The Eagles got one.
Eagles got one.
If you find Bigfoot, what are you gonna do?
Dead or alive?
Yes, either one.
Alive. I don't know if I'm gonna piss first or shit first. Probably both at the same time. Scream like a girl, run away, and then I don't know what the future holds after that. If I find a dead one, well, I'm gonna cut off every chunk of body that I possibly can, and send them to places, but definitely keep a stash for myself, because I don't necessarily think that some of these places want to get the whole Bigfoot name out there.
How sure are you that he exists?
70%.
70%?
Yep,
That's a
I
good
think
number.
I
That's pretty
almost.
good. I'll
That's a
take
good
those
number.
odds.
If you were saying 100%, I wouldn't believe you. But
I think-
70 solid. I like it.
yeah.
I think I might have saw one down in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey,
Okay.
but and I took pictures, but it's just so blurry and not clear. I'm never gonna release them.
Yeah, you also don't want to discredit, right? You want to make sure everything you put out is very it's clean,
Oh, yeah.
it's clear. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
100%.
that's
I would never put that in an episode, because it's
You
just
discredit
another-
yourself at that point, right? You don't want there's that one picture of Bigfoot, like even Eagle pulled it up on our Google search. It's the same picture we've seen for the last 40 years of Bigfoot.
Exactly.
It's just like a guy. It looks like a guy in a suit just walking through. His head staying at the same height, so it's all these things, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, it is
Well,
what
it's
it is.
interesting. You're talking about the Patterson Gimlin film, and I'll
Yes,
make
exactly,
it
yeah.
short. What's really interesting is I have third generation tracks for sale. If anybody's interested, we also have T-shirts, beanies, all that good stuff for sale. Head over to In the Shadow of Big Red Eyes Facebook page, and what's interesting about the Patterson Gimlin film is that I think it's real. It has a tumor on its leg. If you look real close, it's got a tumor kind of on its leg.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because that was the first thing I noticed too when I saw that video. I was
Yeah.
like, what's on his leg? It looked like he's wearing something on his knee.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. Well, that was Mike Familant. Mike, thank you for joining us. He is the producer and lead investigator of In the Shadow of Big Red Eye, Sussex County. I've always had trouble with that word.
Sussex.
Sussex.
I want to thank you for coming on, Mike. It's really, really cool of you. And obviously, as you get closer and closer, we want to hear your updates. Thank you. We already consider you friend of the show, and we love stepping outside the boundaries of sports, and it's interviews like this that remind us why. Thank you very much, Mike, for joining us.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, listeners. And you guys are welcome to come out whenever you want.
Oh man, you know what? I think it might be a hot sauce
sauce
As
excursion.
soon as we can leave Canada.
When the borders open, I think
Come on
we might.
over.
I think we might.
Yeah, I won't camp though. I'll be in a hotel, but I'll join you guys through the day.
Thank you, Mike.
See you, Mike.
Okay, take care, guys.